Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Welcome everyone. Wow, I can't believe we're finally here. Look, it's been quite a journey and we are continuing on this journey. But for those of you who are joining in online for the first time for some of our work, what took you so long? You've missed a lot. But just to let you know, today's a really special day for many of us. A lot of my friends are here and we are basically celebrating and having a blessing of our home warming and being offered special inspirational blessings to, I don't know, help us to navigate during these times. Things are so unusual and we are in a way unusual. We're going through things that we've never gone through before. For example, being kicked out of a house that you were living in for 14 years and just being told, it was so fascinating, everyone. I am here today in front of you because at the end of February, the owner of the property that we were intending to purchase said, you have to be out in less than 2 months. That's why I'm here. And what I had thought was like, how unkind. I mean, come on, don't worry. We can we'll buy the house. So, we've been here for 14 years. It's a pandemic. And he was not going to have it one way or the other. He had already gotten his person to purchase the property. And the biggest thing on his mind was his $1.4 million that he had purchased, that he had gotten for his home. So that meant that I had to find a space within less than 2 months. And there was a part of me that was a little bit disappointed with humanity, but I've been down that road before. But there was also another part of it in which I go, look, God, destiny, the universe always have something else in store for you. So just see. So it's interesting how you go through like, I can't take this anymore. And well, wait and let's see the wonder. And so 4 days later, after I was having a global meeting with my beautiful experience of God on the mountaintop in Mount Abu, India, I drove here to this address and it was on Zillow. And of course, it was absolutely out of our price range. But I was at the end of this gate and I called the people on Zillow and I said, I'm in front of this property and it's okay. I don't want to create any problems, but I was just wondering if I could just go in and take a look around at the property. And he says, hold on a minute. Let me see if I can get the owners of the space. And sure enough, the young man was able to find the owners of the property. And within about maybe 2 minutes comes this beautiful face, this happy face in a white shirt. You were in a white shirt and pants. And you just came out in the driveway and goes, you can come inside. You can come inside. So I would like to introduce the world to a couple that actually made compromises and sacrifices to get us here and to say, what's most important is the well-being of our humanity. And sister, your family need to be in our house. So please give me a big round of applause to Wei and Wen Lu. Could you please come and tell us a little bit what it's been like? The mic is here. What's it been like being connected and what was that feeling? Remember when we first met?
Yes, I do. Sister Jenna said she was, at the gate, and I met her at the gate. Actually, Sister Jenna, 8 years ago, when we purchased the house, I was standing in the same place as Sister Jenna standing there 8 years ago.
Wow.
And I remember it was like a very late afternoon. It was a sunset time, and I can see the sun shine through my eyes. It was getting dark, like very quickly. So we only toured like 1/3 of the house, and second day we made an offer because we just fall in love with the setting of the house. And 8 years later, I met Sister Jenna, and now we have wonderful journeys in the past 3-4 months. Now made me wonder, I wonder maybe at that time we made such a quick decision, very quick emotional buying, see 1/3 of the house and make an offer. Maybe it is for us to be here today. Maybe that's the purpose. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we want to share some thoughts.
Yeah, So I talked to Ben like long time.
Hold the microphone.
Every day we talk about this. We're just so grateful about the opportunity to meet Sister Jenna. Because in this property, for the past 8 years, it gave us so much good memory now, for whole family. But now we love even more because we get a chance to know Sister Jenna. So that's something we really truly believe is part of our journey. We thank you for that. And then I wanted to share just one small story for this past 3
months.
Which is Sister Jenna, because I have so many stories to tell about 1 minute at there. So it's a how Sister Jenna, we all know, Sister Jenna's compassion, help humanity, peace, for the war. We all know that. We all respect, very much moved by that. But one thing, she cared about us, about other people. It's incredible, because for in 2 months, like Sister Jenna say, she need to move out to the house. She stayed there for so long. All the things need to be happening. Even during that kind of schedule, she specifically set a time for us. Sit down with us, make sure our feeling is good, right? Make sure we find the right place, know about our family. I mean, the day before the moving, she spent a whole day, whole afternoon, sit down with us, just for 2 of us, to answer any question we have, and then went through all that meditation process, soul, love, everything. It will carry in my heart all my life. Wow. And then she drew a diagram, and the 2-piece paper, I saved it, treasured it, and I took a picture in my phone. Every time I have a question, I'm thinking, actually, I pulled it up as a reference. So I really sincerely appreciate that. That again, this house brought us another good memory. I'm sure with Sister Jenna and family to be here, you'll be full of love, peace, and for everyone to visit, will feel a blessing.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Thank you. Give them a big hand. Way and when allowed the contractors to do the renovation and the construction while they were living here. And actually, the construction and the renovations was supposed to be finished by the time we moved in on April 17th. They just demolished everything. They really hadn't started. And how I felt with all the renovation and how peaceful and calm you all were doing that, I was just like, so you have no idea how many blessings you are receiving from the entire BK family, but all your friends here, you've got a whole bunch of friends now. So if you ever want to buy a house, find them. To invite another friend that I've had on the journey, the amazing, incomparable Reverend Dr. Ivy Hylton, who comes from the lineage of people who have voice. Her history is rich. Her relatives are rich in terms of being iconic African-American leaders in the United States of America. Dr. Reverend Ivy Hylton is offering us the opportunity of singing us into song of Let There Be Light. And I'll tell you this, we've been on a wonderful journey together. And Dr. Reverend Ivy Hylton, I want to thank you for coming into our space and our home and giving us your blessings of song and taking us to the mountaintop. Welcome.
So much, Sister Jenna, and this is such a blessing. And I am so grateful. I invite you to just sit back, relax, allow your body to let go, and take a deep breath. And as you exhale, send the love. Most beautiful and blessed ministry. In the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. The earth was without form
Ivy, I felt every bit of that. I think we all did. Thank you so much, Ivy. Talk to you later. As we move on, there's a particular instrument that has been a very great impact in my life, Sister Mohini. When I was about 23, I met with Daddy Janki, and I had finished with my nightclubs and was like wondering what to do next. And actually, I had a vision and I had a very mystical experience. And that mystical experience opened me up to God's light. And Daddy Janki, who knew me from I was 17, had seen this shift in my eyes, from seeing in my eyes where she only saw people and possessions and attachments. After I had my mystical awakening, she saw light. And then she told me, it's time for you. And so she sent me to New York for spiritual training. Who goes to New York for spiritual training? Marianne Williamson does. So I went to New York for spiritual training under the leadership of Sister Mohini, who is now the additional head of the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University. And so Sister Mohini's message comes with great weight because she has been living this path for almost 65 years. And every word that she says has great, great significance. I welcome Sister Mohini.
Om Shanti. It's a beautiful day and very, very lovely feelings to be here together for inauguration of a sacred place, a holy place, a beautiful place, and beautiful name given, Om Shanti village. Whatever appears and whatever we are able to get, and we become instruments to set up that place. Every task requires courage, but also we remember that every step of courage brings many, many-fold steps of help from God. My courage and God's help brings love and cooperation from everyone. Nature start blossoming, and say also month when all the flowers are blossoming. I heard there is peacock must be dancing. It's a great opportunity for us to experience what is spiritual love, what are spiritual vibrations, and then collectively when we are inaugurating this, I know that some might be present there physically, but most of us are on Zoom, and some of us are seeing each other, some not. But our hearts are full with love and also gratitude that, I should say, God gave us this gift. We all can use the gift to enhance our spiritual abilities and powers. What is needed at this time is inner peace, spiritual love, and also inner powers to face whenever there are some challenging situations, and also bring some feelings of what is my purpose, what is my aim. Because as much we as souls move forward or ascend, increase our power of purity, it becomes a great service, a great contribution to create peace in the world, bring happiness to people, and also remove the sufferings. So our upliftment personal is not just for me, but it's a contribution towards transformation of the world. We sow the seeds of peace and happiness, sharing, care, love, generosity. And with these all qualities, we think of souls of the world, entire humanity, so that there can be the world of peace and happiness. It's God's creation, and God is the one who is remover of sorrow and giver of happiness. So today we think of one supreme, divine. And in those thoughts, the vision which had been given to us of the world, which is beautiful, heavenly, of harmony, we all together will create it with, of course, God's blessings, so that whole world, every human being on this world, on this earth, is able to receive God's blessings and enjoy life of blessings. Congratulations, Sister Jenna and all others with the team, and also my good wishes. God bless all of you. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, Sister Mohini. I have to tell you, when you walk the path of sacredness and spirituality and silence like she has for 65 plus years and has been able to uphold millions of lives, it's no small feat. And so quiet, so humble. She doesn't have a Facebook page. She doesn't have followers. Really, no followers, no Instagram, no Twitter, and so there are those souls in the world that's really doing the work, and they're holding something very deep and sacred, which will help us in the future, because they have taken on that role to be the keepers of that sacred energy very quietly. And I'm very privileged to have been under her tutelage. I know I've given her some effort because I'm so different. But I think it's been great that she has accepted me in my difference, knowing that she trusts that I'm going to keep bringing the energy of truth and purity no matter what, even if it comes with a little flare. Marianne, a little flare, a little flare. So next is our sweet sister, Caroline Myss. Caroline, I've turned to you when I was having my health opportunity last year, and you know that the words that you spoke I really held on to that very deeply, and it took me through. It took me through, because what could have been a really big, tragic situation, it was when you said, "Oh, don't worry, just get rid of it and get going," and I just said, yeah, it's exactly what I have to do. But but Caroline Myss is a woman of just truth. She's the real deal. I think Caroline reveals to us a kind of a spirituality that needs to be lived, not just spoken about. Yes, she has authored, I don't know, 20, 30 books by now. Yes, she's been on Super Soul Sunday with Oprah. Yes, she has been all over the world. Yes, she does great things. But yes, she's a truth teller. She's a truth teller. And her latest book, Intimate Conversations with God, is profound. And Caroline, I just don't have any words to tell you what it means to me for you to bring your energy and prayer and love into the space, and to have a conversation with this wonderful group of friends, but also those that are watching online and on Zoom. How do we develop an intimate conversation with God, especially as we move into the next normal? And of course, I would love for you to offer me a prayer for our Om Shanti village. But welcome to the family. Welcome, Caroline. Thanks for being here.
First of all, blessings upon your magnificent day and all who are part of your wonderful family. And I have to say, this beginning, your beautiful day, Reverend Ivy's music had just blew me away. and the blessing of your profound spiritual mentor. Wow, wow. Right. How do we establish, you don't need my help, you're doing a good job. But maybe I could share something from my own experience that will be a little jewel in the pocket of everybody, I hope. First of all, I feel like I need to apologize for not wearing white. My apologies. I feel like I should have worn white. I'm so very sorry. I almost wanted to run off and change while you were singing, but I couldn't bear to leave your music. I couldn't bear it. When you were talking about, and I knew about that person who was causing you to exit your home, but I really believe heaven works in such curious ways, not our ways, but much more clever than us. And one of the I think operating rules of heaven is that rejection is protection. And when we are rejected out of a situation or a relationship, or something doesn't work the way we want it to, we have no idea that we're being protected from something and then directed. Rejection, protection, direction. In we can't see the handiwork that goes on behind the scenes. And I think one of the reasons we can't see the handiwork is because we would interfere with it, and not the best part of ourselves, the frightened part of ourselves, the shadow part of ourselves, the insecure part of ourselves, driven by survival needs that would want to know, what's the finances here? What's this? What's that? Who's going to be in charge? Who's going to have the power? I mean, the way our animal instincts drive us. And because they bring out the worst in us instead of the best in us, the best of our guidance, the best happens behind the scenes. And oftentimes takes the expression of disaster from our point of view, because it collides with what we think is the best for us. But if we look at the decisions that we've made that have gotten us in the most trouble, they've been driven by our worst instincts, by ambition, by expectation, by entitlement, by the worst of us. And the things that have turned out to be the best have happened out of the clear blue. And two wonderful people showing up at the gate at a beautiful home that Sister Jenna didn't expect to live in. And poof, she's planted in a place that, for all she knows, is this center of light she is supposed to be creating for the entire area around her. I think that this time that we're living in is the greatest era of chaos humanity has ever known. And there's all kinds of reasons for that. I mean, we've never faced global, we don't have problems anymore. Problems have solutions. Here's a problem. I don't know what to make for dinner. Here's the solution. But problems follow that kind of mathematical equation. Here's one problem and one solution. And we still operate as though that's the way things are solved. But go up to a glacier and say, here, sign this treaty and stop melting. Sign this agreement, stop melting. It doesn't work that way. We have evolved, entered into the era of predicaments. We are facing global predicaments, climate change, and techno crimes where we cannot see the perpetrators. The capacity to shut down our energy system, to shut down our water, to shut down our gas, to shut down without even knowing who are these people, where are they coming from. We have entered the era of energy life, energy crime, energy, but also the power of the soul. That's where we come in. We've entered the power of the soul. And that requires us to actually, truly engage in deep reflection on, do we have the faith to make the transition to where our interior world is actually our residence, and that we are in the world, but not of the world, that we actually get that our center of power is behind our eye and not in front of our eye, that it is up to me to empower a spectacle. And if I don't give it power, it has no power. And that faith and trust in the holy world is my primary first power. Faith and trust in that world. And that I need to live according to the mystical laws, where I realize every thought I have is an act of creation. And because that's true, I need to attend to every thought as a prayer. Every thought as a prayer. That what I do to one, I do to all. That all life breathes together. That this is a bio-spiritual, ecological system in which I live. And that I must attend to all life as part of my bio-spiritual, ecological system. And therefore, I make that promise, that vow, not a promise, but a vow, that I will hold all humanity in my prayers. It is no longer enough for me to be the center of my universe, but the universe must be the center of my universe. I now have to shift to the higher order of rules, where the purpose of my life is to recognize I am here to learn the mystical laws and live according to the laws, bend my head and say, what is it you wish of me today? And not get up and say, what can I take from life? But rather, what can I give to life? And to be a servant, not searching for attention, but recognizing that the mantra is humble up, so that no matter what you ask of me, I do not turn my head, because I do not know why you are asking this. But I don't ask it anymore. So that the inner is have no judgments, have no expectation, and give up the need to know why things happen as they do, because I do not know why. And to learn and get the actual truth that there will never be justice on this earth that revolves around me or anybody. That is why all mystical teachings say, you come here to forgive, not to enact justice. You come here to channel love. And the more you do that, the less injustice there will be. That is how you resolve it. You have to have faith in the higher order of power. And love is the greatest force through which we will know the power of God in our physical form. Those are my words to you this morning, and I bless your efforts. And I will leave you with this.
What?
There is nothing easy about what I just suggested. Nothing.
You made it so easy, Caroline. You're the best. Thank you so much. Lots of love.
Lots of love to all of you. Lots of love to all of you. My blessings. Have a wonderful day.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
So a little bit over a decade ago, one of our sisters by the name of Sister Shivani happened to have been in our studios in Delhi. And as much as the producer were looking for all the elder senior sisters to come on the camera set and start to share spiritual knowledge of Raj Yoga meditation teachings, it turned out that Sister Shivani happened to have been in studio and she was asked to come on set. Would you like to share? One of the beautiful gifts about being a Brahma Kumar or Kumari is you're going to be like the Ganga of knowledge. Information and knowledge just comes out of you, just spews out of you, because that's just your whole buildup when you study here. So you can be an 80-year-old yogi or you can be a 1-month-old yogi. The Ganga of knowledge will just keep flowing from you. This is how rich and simple the knowledge is here and in Raj Yoga. So here is Sister Shivani. She comes up with her beautiful, sacred, sweet self and just starts to share with Kanu, who we just lost, by the way, to COVID in India last month. And Kanu, who had all of this interest to find out about life. Sister Shivani used all of God's, Baba's teaching in the Brahma Kumaris to share what are some of the practical tools. Within a few years, Sister Shivani has become the voice, the face, the messenger of God's light and love, the go-to person with the Brahma Kumaris, with this very famous show, Awakening with Brahma Kumaris. I know if I tell you she has like 5 million followers, it's not a big deal for this group of people, but for other people out there, they're like 5 million, yep. Whenever she goes and speaks at a stadium, it's packed, 20, 30, 40,000 people just show up once they see the invitation. And Sister Shivani is just a sister, humble, sweet, opened. She just wants to see everyone in this connection with Source to get maybe a little bit of what she's gotten to really make this world a better place and usher in a golden age. So she's joining us all the way from Mother Bharat, from India, to bring with us some of her wealth of wisdom and her blessings. Shivani Ben, Om Shanti, welcome.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, my sweet sister, for joining us and bringing Bharat here to Om Shanti Village.
It's my fortune to be part of this beautiful family in the divine home. Even though it's virtual, but it feels as if I can feel it. I don't know whether I'm making it up, but I'm really feeling it. But I feel I'm feeling it. I can really feel the energy that has been created there. And just like the name, Om Shanti Village, Om Shanti, I'm a peaceful being. Imagine having a home called Om Shanti, I'm a peaceful being. The name has so much significance, whether it's the name of the house or the name of a person, because the name is our affirmation that is going to be used millions of times during our lifetime. And so when the name itself is such a high vibrational energy, so every time somebody is going to say Om Shanti Village, they're actually going to be reaffirming their own personality of peace. So they'd actually be reminding themselves, I'm a peaceful being, while talking about this new house. Imagine typing an address to send a parcel to Om Shanti Village, and just while typing, I get to say, I am a peaceful being, Om Shanti. So the name itself, when the name of a house is going to connect not just those who are staying within the house, but each one who is going to even think of it in any part of the world, just thinking of the name of the place is going to connect us to our original nature of peace. So when the name itself will connect us to the peace, imagine what it would be like when we're actually there in that house, which vibrates with the energy of peace. The place where we live, we could be 4 in a house, 2 in a house, but the house is not just what we see. The house is the vibrations, like we were listening to Sister Caroline now. The planet is our house, but it's not just what we see, it's the vibration of the planet. And so beautifully she shared with us that the time has come to raise the vibration of the planet. We need to. And today is the most beautiful day to decide, what am I ready to do? One is, we all heard her. We all loved every word of what she shared. We all heard Mohini Didi. We all hearing Sister Jenna. We are all hearing the most beautiful, soulful music. But what is the one thing I am ready to do today, which is going to shift my vibration, which is going to shift the vibration of the place where I stay, and is going to shift the vibration of the planet? Every day, I need to remind myself I am not just I am a part of the collective consciousness of this planet. Like the house we live, what's the energy of the house? It's the state of mind of everybody living in that house. So if someone had to walk in and check the energy of your house, ask yourself, what's the energy meter going to show them? What's the vibration of my house? Does my house radiate with love, care, peace, and power? Or does my house have a little vibration of fear, anxiety, worry, hurt? Then it's time to clean today. It's time to cleanse our energies, because Om Shanti Village will not just be the name of one new beautiful house, but Om Shanti can be the vibration of our house. It can be the vibration of who we are. In the last 1 year, what have we done to the vibrational energy of the planet? Yes, we were suddenly hit by a pandemic, suddenly a situation which we didn't know. But we would have learned, and we have learned how to take care of the body. But we did not take care of the mind. And millions of us created fear and anxiety. So if we had to just visualize, where has the vibrational frequency of the planet reached in 1 year? Has it gone higher, or has it dipped a little because we created fear and anxiety in response to the epidemic? And so, what is our moral responsibility today? To shift the energy of the planet. And so, Sister Caroline shared so beautifully. And let's see what have we picked up from that. She said, instead of feeling that you are the center of the universe, make the universe the center of your life. What a powerful statement. Instead of believing that you are the center of this world, make the world the center of your life, which means make taking care of the world your personal priority. And then she said, shift from expectations to giving. So simple, right? And that's why in the end she said, okay, whatever I've shared was not that simple. But I believe, Sister Jenna believes, only out of experience, not because we've heard such profound wisdom, but only because we got the opportunity to also experiment with it. If we listen to it, shift from expectations to giving, it sounds so difficult because we have so many expectations from people, from our own self, from everybody. But what is the meaning of expectations? Expectations means wanting something to be my way. Whether it could be, I want my body to be my way. My body should look this way, weigh this much, height this much. I want my body to be my way. And then I wake up one morning and I see, oh, my body is not my way. The color is not how I wanted. The hair is not how I wanted. And there's something that's grown on my face today, and I'm not happy. I'm not happy even when the day my body is not my way. I need my body to be my way. I want my people to be my way. I want the weather to be my way. I want the world to be my way. So if I make a list of expectations, it's a never ending long list. And this list is because I, the soul, have made my happiness dependent on what I get from situations and people. Instead of creating my happiness, I'm waiting to be happy when people and situations are my way. It's a life of emotional dependence. In an era of physical independence, social independence, financial independence, there's one more independence we need, and that is emotional independence. We cannot live our lives saying, I'm stressed because of, I'm hurt because of, I'm angry because of, I'm happy because of, which means what I am inside cannot be because of things outside, because then I would need the outside to be my way. And like we just heard, outside is unpredictable. We don't know when, what will happen. And so if I make my inner world of feelings dependent on an unpredictable world, then if there is chaos outside, then it's certain there will be chaos inside. Then certain I'll be chaotic inside. And so it's time. It's time to take charge and shift from emotional dependence to shift to becoming emotionally independent. And that's the truth. And that's the first spiritual equation I learned when I came to the Brahma Kumaris. I am the creator of my every thought, feeling, word, and behavior. You could put it up like a pretty poster there in your room, because it's a reminder that I have to give myself many, many times in the day. I am the creator of my every thought, feeling, word, and behavior. And so I cannot blame anything and anyone for how I'm feeling. I cannot blame, because what's happening in my inner world is not created by the outer world. People can, like Sister Jenna shared, someone just said one day, okay, 2 months to vacate this place. Yes, the person was not very right to her. It seemed so unfair. It seemed so unethical. But that person can only do everything outside. But nobody can enter into our mind and create our hurt or stress. So emotional independence is that you can do all the wrong outside, but you cannot enter my mind, which means you can't enter and create my emotions. This is my space. Nobody enters here. And so no one can hurt us. No one can irritate us. No one can do anything to us emotionally. And that's where the power lies. Because the change that we want to see in the world, the collective vibrational energy of the world that we want to raise, it's going to happen from here. The world is waiting for something to change outside so that we can be happy and peaceful. Energy equation doesn't go that way. It's not going to go from the outside to in. We're going to change our inner world. And from the inner world, we will raise the collective vibration of the planet. So let's choose two expectations today from what we've just heard, that we're going to let go of our expectations. If she shared such powerful things, we also have to agree to do them, right? Because only then will we see the power of doing. When something is so powerful to just listen to, how amazing it would be to live it. If it's sounding so good just to listen, how would it be if we start living it? So when we start meditating on a daily basis and energizing the self with spiritual principles, so we start taking care of this inner world, and which means all that I've ever wanted, happiness, love, purity, power, we start creating it here, not consuming it from the outside world, not waiting to get it from the outside world, but creating it here. And once we start creating it here, just visualize, once you start creating your happiness, peace, and power here, you are not dependent on anything in the outer world. That is emotional independence. And when I'm not dependent on anything on the outside world, then what are the expectations that I'm going to have? Then I don't have expectations. I can advise, I can suggest, I can give my opinion, but my happiness is not dependent on anyone's behavior. So no expectations. Acceptance comes natural. Acceptance will come natural. But I accept people as they are, which means people cannot control my state of mind. I have accepted them as they are. And when that happens, now I'm not consuming from the world, but I am radiating to the world. I'm not consuming what is happening and getting affected. I'm energizing with the divine power and giving to the world. And that's what we just heard. Shift from wanting to giving. Shift from expectations to becoming a giver. So I create it and then I give it. Needs to be our priority now. We cannot wait and say, Who's going to create peace in the world? Who's going to bring back that unity, love, respect, and compassion on the planet? The answer is I. The answer is not we. The answer is I. Because when we say we, then we again looking here and there, okay, who all are joining me in doing this? The answer is I. What am I doing to create it? And it's simple. Everything that I'm inside is what I'm radiating to the planet. I thought that what I'm inside is just me. It's not me. My every thought is a vibration, which is a part of the collective energy of the planet. Can I afford to radiate pain, hurt, fear, stress? Can I do that? Would I be fair to the world? Would I be fair to the world? Would I be fair to the millions on the planet who are going through pain? So when I create a little shift in myself, just one little thing, shifting from anger to remaining stable, shifting from expectations to understanding that people will be different and accepting them, shifting from holding on to things, very deep personality trait, holding on to the past, and shifting to, okay, it is what they did, but they could not hurt me. It was just their behavior. I created my hurt. I release. I let go. I'll just practice that for a few days. I release. I let go. And when I release something from here, I'm actually shifting the vibration of the planet. So it's not just inner cleansing, it's going to be cleansing of the planet. So
Yes.
that is what Om Shanti Village is going to teach us, that who we are is what we create. And similarly, who we are is what we create on the planet. So let's create one powerful thought right now, because we're all together. God's power and blessings, all our love, pure wishes and blessings is a divine circle of energy all around the Om Shanti Village. Visualize a divine circle of protection. It's like an aura of the house. And this aura radiates peace to the world. Om Shanti, I am a peaceful being.
Thank you,
Yes, ma'am.
Shivani Ben.
Thank
That was
you,
so
Om
perfect.
Shanti.
Thank you so much. That
Thank
was
you so
perfect.
much.
Thank you, dear. So many years have passed by, and I have watched our next friend, Marianne Williamson, just continue to light up the world with her eloquent, profound intellect, in the way she sees things, in the way she's able to articulate things. And, you know, we always say with Marianne, you know, she's one of us, she's in the tribe of conscious community. And then she does one of the most brave of many, one of the most bravest thing, to step into the political field and run for president of the United States. Give her a big hand. That was huge. And what was interesting about it is that, you know, there she's on this platform, and I know she's us. She's the awakened, you know, being. And to have held that space for the amount of time she stayed in that race showed the power of her tenacity and her spiritual integrity. That is not easy when you're living from a world inside, in the middle of a world that is only focused on the outside of control and power. And I think her stepping back was a graceful one, only because I know that her work will expand even 100 times more. Was it the second debate or the first one when you were the most Googled presidential candidate? Was it the second one? And it was like everybody was, well, who's Marianne? And they were like, because, you know, in the conscious awakening community, there's a particular group of us, but then there is 80% of the rest of America. And then 80% of the rest of America came to know about this light. Please welcome the beautiful Marianne Williamson. So as you know, moving is not easy. You've just relocated to Washington, D.C. Welcome.
Thank you.
And it is a different town. It's different. I'm not saying that New York and D.C. have many differences, but there are some differences for sure. But moving can sometimes upset you, you know, it changes you. A lot of things inside of you go array. You're not the same. I'm baffled at how just going to the kitchen feels different for me now, or going to my meditation room, I'm taking a different route. And I'm finding that my consciousness is changing. So much in me is letting go right now, Marianne. And I'm changing, and everybody around me and all my friends, everybody is changing. Change is definitely happening for all of us. And tell us a little bit about that. Talk to us about the power of change, and how impactful can change be if we're able to recognize that it's for our own good.
Well, I have a little bit of a gypsy in me. I'm somebody.
You like to move around.
I enjoy moving around. I enjoy being in different parts of this country. I enjoy being in different parts of the world, because every aspect of humanity, it could be our geography, it could be our religion, it could be our ethnicity, it could be our culture, is a beautiful ray, just a different ray from the same central sun. And once you know about the same central sun, and you are grounded in a realization of the central sun, you can appreciate the different rays for the power that they bring. And the ray that is Washington, D.C. is, on one hand, represents a great light on the planet. And on the other hand, is headquarters from some of the greatest darkness. Washington, D.C. is ground zero for the spiritual contest on this planet. And to be here is to have your ear to that ground. And while it is headquarters for some of the greatest machinations of the ego mind, which would, if unchecked, do nothing short of possibly taking humanity to its extinction, there are also people drawn here with the greatest commitment, not only spiritually, such as yourself, but on other levels as well, to bring forth the work of peace, the work of justice, the work of harmony, etc. When we talk about change, humanity better change. We are, as Gandhi said, the problem with the world is that humanity is not in its right mind. Humanity is insane. The collective consciousness of this world is insane. It is so disconnected from love. Here in this town, billions and billions and billions of dollars spent on ways that we can kill each other. And the argument about whether we're willing to spend a few hundred on ways to heal each other. This is insane. And yet, we know that you don't fight the darkness by hitting the darkness with the baseball bat. You fight the darkness by turning on the light. That's why I assume that someone such as yourself is drawn here, so many of us. In all of the great mystical traditions, it is said that every generation has, and certainly every religious and spiritual tradition has, people whose karmic, dharmic mission, sense of mission on this planet is to hold aloft the light, the love, which not only is the divine organization of humanity, of all nature, but also which brings back into harmony that which has gone into chaos. And every time we meditate, we are standing for the light that casts out the darkness. We are dwelling in the peace that casts out the chaos. And we are invoking the love that casts out the fear in all the ways that all the speakers have been talking about today. So the change that must happen must be on the inside and the outside. But if we do not move into the vertical through meditation and through spiritual practice first, then number one, we don't even receive the guidance of what's supposed to happen to bring forth change on the outside. And even if somehow we were able to discern it, we are not the people capable of bringing forth the changes on the outside. And you and I have had conversations about this, that it's not enough to do the right thing. You have to be the person whose consciousness is so imprinted upon what you did. Everything we do is imprinted with the consciousness with which we do it. That's why in some of the conversations you and I have had, you said your delivery was not loving enough. And I said, but I'm standing for justice. I'm standing for blah, blah. And you said, but the delivery, that everything we do, it's who we are as much as what we do. And I think that we know this now. I don't feel, hearing so much of what we've heard today, we know this now. The era of data collection is over. There's not one mystical tradition that doesn't say everything that we've all heard today. And really, to be honest, no one here was any of this new. Now it's owning it. So when we hear it now, we're not hearing it to receive new information. We're hearing to access the information more deeply. So we're here to access information that we all already know, but every time it is said, particularly by someone who themselves is living it, the principles which we already know become more activated within us. We already have it here. But as the Course in Miracles says, enlightenment begins as abstract intellectual construct and makes a journey without distance from the head to the heart. So that is, to me, in the Bible, when it says be still and know, it means be still and go home. And you can go home in the kitchen, you can go home in the living room, you can go home in the bedroom, you can go home in North America, you can go home in India, you can go home in Los Angeles, you can go home in New York, you can go home in Africa. Because home is not a physical ground. Home is not out there, home is in here. And I also believe that just as the universe, this divine intelligence, it has been said by Carolyn, has been said by others today, to live not for oneself. As the Course in Miracles says, enlightenment is a shift in self-perception from body identification to spirit identification. And when we do, we not only find that peace, but become conduits of that peace. That the universe is not only self-organizing, but also self-correcting. And to me, that's what's happening now. One world is falling apart, it's dying, it's dangerous. It is insane. There is no reason for any of us to hold on to any magical thinking that the trajectory of humanity is currently survivable long-term. But at the same time, the gravity of darkness is nothing compared to the lure of love. It is an anti-gravitational force field. So part of what happens in a place like this, the Course in Miracles says, an idea grows stronger when it is shared. To me, just being here, the space that you hold, and the space you hold, whether you were here at Shanti Village or whether you're out, because I know you're out in the world as well, holding a space that reminds us to be reminded, to recognize, to recognize, oh, that's not it, this is it. And then when we are in this place, and when you hold a space such as this, which is why someone like yourself is guided to hold the space here. But then we all leave here, whether it's politics, it's education, it's science, it's our relationships. We are carrying with us what we receive in a place like this, where we are deeply reminded. And then when we leave here today, it's like a time release capsule. You've received, it's like a battery charge, like, thank you. Did you come here, charge my inner battery, right? And then we will go out. And yes, we will do things, but we will know who we are and who sent us. And there's a line there's a part in the Course in Miracles that says, when you have realized this, there will be a light in your eye. And those who are similarly awakened will look at you and recognize you. And those who are not will look at you and wonder, I wonder where all that light comes from. And you will meet, the Course in Miracles says, your mighty companions. And I believe that that's where our faith comes in. It's very easy, since our physical eyes and our worldly mind is very aware these days of that which is dying. We must remind each other of all that is being born. And it's not enough to just know it. We have to experience it. Belief doesn't mean anything, but when you do experience it, we all know, as we feel here today. It's an intuitive knowing. It's a knowing of the heart that as dark as the world can be, it has no power before the light that we feel within ourselves.
And her, is she great? I know you're heading out shortly, and I really appreciate the time that you've taken to be here. I wanted to serve you Indian food. I don't know if you could stay back, but one of the things that I'd love for you to touch on, if you can, before you go, is the connection between the soul and God. Just in brief, tell us how.
The word God has been desecrated to such a point that there are many ways in which the word itself is no longer helpful for many people, because it has been conceptualized and articulated as something outside ourselves. Traditions such as yours, Sister Jenna, recognize that God is the divine love that is the truth of all things. In the Course in Miracles, it says that the universe is the mind of God, and that the mind of God is love, and that what is all encompassing can have no opposite. God is all that is. God creates by thinking. We are ideas in the mind of God. And our purpose on this earth, the Course says, is to think as God thinks, which means to love in all things. And when we are not thinking with love, because love is all that is, the Course says when you're not thinking with love, you're actually not thinking. You are hallucinating. And that's what this world is. This world is a gigantic hallucination and illusion, because God would never create that which is not love. This is something we have made. But the Course in Miracles says that God honors the creations of his children. The acorn is programmed to become an oak tree. The bud is programmed to become a blossom. The embryo is programmed to become a baby, and you and I are programmed to become self-realized. The difference between us and the acorn is free will means we can say no. So in any given moment, I can open my heart to love and allow divine intelligence flow through me, but I can also shut down based on triggers and trauma and all of the experiences of the world and go into lovelessness. What the Course in Miracles and many traditions say is just be aware enough to know in that moment, if you're not at peace, you're insane, and ask for help. And whether you call it the Holy Spirit or the Shekinah or divine intelligence or whatever, the Course in Miracles says that it will respond fully to your slightest invitation. Just be present enough in that moment. Take me home. Help me. Take me from fear. Take me to love. And then the Course in Miracles says you'll meet who you need to meet. You'll read the book you're meant to read. You'll have a conversation with a friend, whatever is needed to remind you. And one other thing I'd like to say is, from this perspective, the universe itself is intentional. just as the bud is programmed to become the blossom and you and I are programmed to become self-realized, the whole universe is programmed to heal itself. And we are like immune cells. The body could not survive without an immune system. The body can take a lot of injury, assault, and sickness and heal itself. The psyche can take a lot, has an immune system. The psyche can take a lot of heartbreak, a lot of assault, and heal itself. And humanity, civilization, can take a lot of assault and heal itself, because each of us that signs up and says, God use me, spirit use me, is an immune cell. And just as the cells of the body, you go to the pancreas, you go to the lungs, you go to the blood, you go to Washington, you go to India, you go try to make it right within politics, you go make it right within education, you incarnate Black, you incarnate brown, you incarnate white, you incarnate European, you incarnate, and wherever you are. Know that not only are you there to be the priestly higher vibration that has been spoken of today, but everything you need to make you happy and to make it happen is either already right in front of you, and your job is to open your eyes and see it, or it's on its way. So spend your time in preparation. You are the gift.
Please stay. So brilliant, isn't it? I'm telling you, Om Shanti Village is just a space of sacredness. Thank you, Wei and Wen. See how much love they left behind, that they attracted us through their cells, right? So that energy is there. Reverend Sylvia Sumter, the senior pastor of Unity of Washington, D.C. Man, we are traveling, huh?
She's the best.
Oh, and when we first came here, remember that house blessing Reverend Sylvia did? So I wanted her to do another one because we really need it. And I wanted her to be able to bring her energy of blessings to us today. And please, can I borrow that mic? No, stay though, stay. These are old friends, old friends.
For sure, for sure. Wonderful. What a blessing it is to be here. You know, I was going to talk a little bit about a house blessing because I believe in blessings. You know, it's one of my favorite words. And just to watch the miracle of having come here, having met Wei and Wen, and seeing it before this was transformed, but you had a vision, you held the vision, and I just love the magic that you're able to bring through your vision, because this is so beautiful. This morning, I was going to talk about house blessings, but all of a sudden, a scripture came to me from the Old Testament. And it was when God was speaking to Abraham, and he had gone up, Moses, and he had gone up to the mount. And God said, take off the shoes, because the ground that you are standing on is holy ground. And that's what I feel when I come into Om Shanti Village and I take off my shoes, because the ground that I'm standing on is holy ground. But what that means to me is not just a physical place, but it's the ground that I stand on. Wherever I am is holy ground. See, and so the fact that you are drawing so many souls to bless you today is just an indication of these grounds that are already sanctified, blessed. You know, you all already planted your wonderful seeds, Wei and Wen, but it's powerful. And so here's my prayer and blessing for Om Shanti Village, for this home, for this sacred space, this sacred place. And that is that every soul who enters upon these grounds recognizes instantly the holiness of their own being and their presence. When they come into this sacred space, they will feel the love, the peace, the harmony, the connectiveness to nature, to life itself and themselves. And everything that you do to create this environment of love, of peace, of harmony for your family, for your friends, for those who exist and live around you. May they too feel the sacredness of this place. May there be peace and harmony as we enter, but more importantly, may we take the peace and the harmony and the power and the love that we receive here with us into the world. We know that this place is blessed and sanctified and already acknowledged as the sweet home of God. And may every soul who comes and every soul who leaves come in peace and leave in peace. May they come in love and leave in love. May they come with their sacred mission and leave going into the world to be not only blessed, but to be a blessing. So Sister Jenna, I offer you my deepest and my most heartfelt blessings for you, my beloved sister. We have journeyed along this path for a while. May we continue to do so. May your light continue to shine. All right. Blessings.
She's such a preacher, huh?
Such a preacher. I love it. Well, just in case I don't see you before you leave, because we're going to be here for another 30 minutes. There are bamboos growing in the backyard of this home, and I feel that it's a blessing for you to have taken your time to be with me and all of our family. And the blessing that's on the back is specifically just for you and nobody else in the room. You are a world benefactor who serves with the mind and gives rays of power.
Thank you.
Thank you. The prayer that we said, the blessing that Reverend Sumter gave so profoundly and eloquently for all of us, I join, as I'm sure every heart here does. You have been a blessing on all of us, certainly on me, on all of us, on people around the world. And I join in the absolute conviction that here in this place, you will even increase the vibratory influence of your power, that what you have been through on your journey. I give praise and thanks for the sacred angels such as Carolyn, who have joined to
You
take
helped
you
too.
through that.
You helped me
you.
too.
Many have prayed for you.
Mm-hmm.
And may the power that emanates from this place be truly unlimited. So great is God.
Her niece, your name, please come up and say hello.
This is my niece, Amber Ford.
Yay.
Amber has recently lost a very beloved daughter. Has gone through the journey with such profound strength and grace. And I can think of nothing that I would love more for her than to receive prayers for her strength and her healing and the healing of her family.
Amber, please come. You okay? Come. Bye. Could you make sure before Amber goes that she sits in Baba's room? Maybe somebody in the back before they leave, make sure she goes in Baba's room and call me up. Thank you, Amber. Things happen to us and we sometimes wonder that it has to happen for us. And then we say, this isn't what I want. And then you wonder, what's the power in it? What's the story? What's the message? And I'd like to have all of us go off script and send peaceful, what's the name of your daughter?
Elise.
If we can send the soul to the energy of Elise and Marianne, you know how powerful vibrations are. How long has it been?
It's been 9 months. on Tuesday.
So as the soul is going on the travels, Elise, wherever you are journeying to, all of us at this moment in time are surrounding you with God's love and light. And we know you're going to return, find us a little baby, happy and bubbly, and continuing your journey with grace. But for now, Elise, we hold you and send you God's peace and purity. And Om Shanti. Take your time, darling. Take your time. Take your time. It's appropriate because our next friend coming up is Bishop Carlton Pearson, who led one of the largest congregations back in the day, a protege of Orville, what's his name? Oral Roberts. Gosh, I'm so far removed from that word. Yeah, Oral Roberts. So a protege of Oral Roberts, who, as many of you know, is a pretty strong evangelist and has led millions of people in America. But while Carlton is on his journey, he's realizing, I don't think this is it. There's more to it. So Carlton has a spiritual, profound experience and actually steps out of the church. Or shall we say, he didn't step out of the church extricated him because he was awakening more than what the scripture was saying. Carlton Bishop Pearson has changed the lives of millions. And everything that Carlton says, again, carries weight. Here's Bishop Carlton Pearson.
A mantra is a sacred phrase, a sacred utterance, a sound and a syllable that reverberates through the soul, through the syncopation of spirit. Om Shanti. Shanti means peace, rest, calmness. We spell words, but words also spell us or cast spells upon us. You've heard of a spell-binding speaker, a spell-binding sound, a song. You're raptured in it and captured by it. Om Shanti, like Om, Amen, I am, are all the first sounds of the universe, we believe. And it is a vibration and creates a vibration that brings peace and calm and resolution. You feel your divinity. You feel your magnificence. You feel your perfect connection to essence. Your essence is your permanent rather than your accidental self. All of us are into the sounds, and the word sound is the Greek. In Greek, it's ekos, the English word, it's echo, and an echo is a sound out of the past. And when it reaches you, that sound, you have a deja vu, what I call a divine deja vu. You remember that you've been here before. You remember that you entered a contract or covenant with creation and creator to come to this space, to this place, to this plan or planet, this plane net, this plane of consciousness. So when you say that, you're under the spell. It's like a chant. A spell is an enchantment or a chanting, like the Gregorian chant of the Christian faith. There are chants in every Reformation. It's a repetition of a sound, of an echo, of a syllable, of a word, of a syncopation. You're in sync with yourself and in cadence with your soul rather than decadence or decadence, death and downward and backwards. And so under the spell of Om Shanti, peace, resolution, ultimate resolve, happy anticipation of good, happy anticipation of God. It's magical. It's electrifying. It's anointed, in the language of my transcendent Pentecostal background, that you go literally into a trance in the vibration and the meditation of the sounds that vibrate through your soul and cause chemical responses on a cellular and cellular level, as well as psychically. This is powerful. And the whole world is looking and leaning toward this new understanding of an ancient wisdom and an ancient reality that goes way back to Hinduism and sacred lettering and words and literalness. It's very powerful. I embrace it. I embrace you, Sister Jenna. Thank you for this opportunity to be linked with all of these wonderful, peace-loving entities and spirits and deities on the earth that are called humans. Human beings being human. The being part is the Om Shanti, is the peace, the Shanti, the shaking, the renewing, the redoing, the renovation of self and soul. So glad to be a part. Keep up the good work. The best is yet to come.
Isn't he dynamic? With Carlton, you could just sit on the couch and just let him preach at you. I swear everything he says is amazing. So a few months ago, I started a new podcast, which was an inspiration by Kanu, who I had interviewed in December. As you know, Kanu passed away last month by COVID in India. And Kanu and I had a discussion, and we ended up with a new podcast called Where East Meets West. Being half Indian, half Black, and being raised in the United States, it gives me a different kind of interpretation or perception of the East and the West. So I started this show where I interview some of the most prolific Indians in America and find out what they're up to and how they were able to, transcend the limitations of coming over from India with $5 in their pocket and becoming, like Naveen Jain, a billionaire, taking satellites to space, coming up with healing ideas to help us to no longer have to rely on pharmaceutical companies. Naveen Jain is a tenacious entrepreneur, a father, a husband. His kids are doing dynamic things. His daughter has just started a company of educating women and helping women with their female areas to make it stronger. Naveen Jain has taken the time to be here to give us blessings, and I want to welcome all of you to Naveen Jain all the way from Seattle. Naveen Bhai, Om Shanti, Swagatam.
Sister Jenna, what an honor and what a pleasure to be in your presence. I have been sitting here and listening to this amazing blessings from people. Sister Shivani moved my heart. I mean, isn't she just an amazing soul? Just being in her presence and just watching her makes you feel better. And I believe the Om Shanti Village is going to be that place that just by being there, who you are changes. And there are very few people in this world, Sister Jenna, that have that power, that their presence themselves, it actually enlightens everyone. Their energy that they vibrate actually makes everyone else vibrate at a frequency where the evil doesn't even come near them, because all the temptations just run away and all they find is left with the peace in their heart. And so I'm always find myself in your presence in that state of mind where I feel that everything is possible, everything is achievable. And the reason we get anxious and frustration and anger is when we have the different, what I would say, the gap between the expectations and the reality. And this constant thing is our expectations of others, our expectations of the world, our expectations of ourselves, where we should be when we are at that age. When it doesn't meet the reality, we get this frustration and anxiety. And we tend to blame someone that this person made me angry. Well, that person doesn't have a power to make you angry. Only you have a power to make yourself angry, right? So we all have to, at the end of the day, realize internally that our peace, our shanti comes from inside us. There is nothing, you don't have to give the remote control of your happiness to someone else. So every time you tell someone, my wife makes me happy, my spouse makes me happy, this makes me happy. You've given the remote control of your happiness to them. They decide happy, unhappy, happy, unhappy. Right? But if you bring that peace inside you, the happiness inside you, then you can share it with the world, and the whole world can be happy with you. And you, Sister Jenna, and the tribe that you have put together around you, they are that souls of happiness that just, emanate happiness to everyone, make everyone else happy because they have such an internal peace with them. So all I want to say that to you is that God bless everything you're doing. We are fortunate to be in this world with your presence here. And I hope that everyone who comes to the Om Shanti Village finds their own peace and get blessing from Sister Jenna. And just know that, we look at the science and we look at spirituality, and we somehow think the science and spirituality will never come together, right? Because somehow they seem to be at odds with one another. What I'm finding is more and more, the science and religion are actually becoming one. So if you ask the true scientists, what do they tell you? We are living in a virtual reality. There is a creator. They call them a programmer. They don't want to call them a god. There is a programmer who has actually written the algorithms that your destiny is pre-written. Now, when we see the same thing in a religion, there is a God who created you and your destiny is pre-written. People say, oh, that cannot be true. But we call them algorithm and a programmer and living in a virtual reality. Suddenly everything makes sense, right? So that's where the science and religion are all coming together, that we really are, to some extent, we have this DNA that is pre-programmed. But guess what? There is on top of that called epigenetic. Epigenetics allows us to modify that programming. And when you are in the presence of the enlightened souls, you can change that epigenetics. You can change that programming, and your destiny that was pre-written changes. So it's really what I would call in my technical world would be, self-evolving algorithm that changes as you experience different things. The algorithm itself changes. And that is what we are here about. Finding the enlightened soul around us that change our genetics through epigenetics, and the different genes are expressed. So same genes in our body, there is one single cell that we start with that becomes our hair, our tooth, our skin, same cell. It can express itself differently. So imagine what you can do with your own potentialities. You can express itself to be anything you want. And Sister Jenna, what an amazing, amazing introduction we had on that podcast. And I still sometimes listen to it when I need to find a peace in my own soul.
Jain, bye. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti so much. And thank you for carving out this time. I know how busy you are. And he's got some amazing, great things going on. So please look him up. All right. I will talk later. Om Shanti.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Dr. Michael Beckwith, by the way, is everyone having an okay time?
Yes.
Have you turned to the person next to you and tell him you kind of like them? Hey, 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 hey. I mean, at least let the person know you like them. So I know that the energy, the wisdom, the love, I think upon all of us, the whole family here is so moved by all of your good wishes and blessings. Wei and Wen, do you see what you got us into? Dr. Michael Beckwith is a friend of many years. Marianne and I, so many of us, we go way back with him. Has a wonderful story, being on the streets, even ended up getting incarcerated for a little bit, doing a little bit of cheeky stuff, has his own awakening, pops up and realizes, oh my gosh, there's a God, I'm a spirit, I need to change my life. He starts the Agape Spiritual Center in Los Angeles, California, which, by the way, celebrated their 30th year anniversary last year. And Dr. Michael Beckwith has become, gosh, Michael, how do you explain him? He is heart, he's energy, he's a light. He does the best he can. He doesn't try to prove he's too perfect. He's Dr. Michael Beckwith. Enjoy his message.
Peace and blessings. I am Michael B. Beckwith, the founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center. It is my pleasure and my honor to embrace this wonderful moment of celebration, the celebration of Om Shanti Village, the celebration of the Brahma Kumari movement having a sweet place for a wonderful movement out of the chaos of the world into a deep sense of reflection about possibility of human evolution, about the birth of more love and more peace and more joy on the planet. What a wonderful moment this is. I can't help but think what a blessing this is to the neighborhood, that all of the beings that have no idea who the Brahma Kumari are going to be filled to overflowing with this intangible yet substantial essence of love and of beauty. A deep sense of peace is going to emerge in the neighborhood, and people might not even know why suddenly they feel just a sense of reverence, a sense of disassociation from the anxiety of the world. So congratulations, Sister Jenna. Congratulations for Om Shanti Village, a refuge from chaos and an entry into a greater expression of ultimate reality. You know, during these times that we're living in right now, which are, to say the least, interesting times, it calls for us to deeply reflect, as I've been saying for a while, you know, who do I want to be as this particular moment of intensity continues to unfold and evolve? I mean, obviously, we're never going back to what is called normal. There's a new normal that's emerging, and that new normal that's emerging is going to reflect the inner changes that are happening within us. That as we are staying out of anxiety and worry and fear, which at times runs the gamut through the human experience. Individuals obviously are bombarded with so many things to be concerned about that the best individuals in technology of meditation or prayer sometimes fall prey to anxiousness. But I believe that if we continue to have a moment of introspection and ask, who do I want to become during these interesting times? Who do I want to become during these times of intensity and sometimes anxiety-producing experience? If we have an appreciative inquiry, the universal presence by law will answer that inquiry. So we're not asking what's wrong. We're not asking who's to blame. We're not asking why are these things happening to me? No. We're asking, what do I want to become? And we're allowing our imagination to run wild, our heart to remain open, so that we begin to catch, little by little, great vision of possibility of who we can become individually and collectively as a nation, as a world. And then watch as we're able to catch that, articulate that, feel into it with our heart and soul. We will be absolutely moved into right thought, right conversation, and right action. And we'll look at these moments of intensity as moments of being in a transformational cauldron of radical change for the better. Because there's something within all of us that's untouched by time, untouched by experience, untouched by anything outside of ourselves. And perhaps the pressure that individuals are going through right now can be the very thing that turns this coal of our life into a powerful diamond of possibility. So as we're celebrating Om Shanti Village, as we're celebrating this wonderful, beautiful refuge from chaos, let's also just take a moment to introspect. Who do I want to become? What do I want to become? give ourselves permission to walk in that direction, even if we don't know how. And we will notice that we will be propelled little by little by little into catching inspiration, right thought, wonderful, uplifting conversation, encouragement, and right action to become who we're meant to be. For there's a destiny within everyone, planted before time began, waiting for the proper condition to emerge. And during a time of great intensity is probably the best time for the best of who we are to emerge. Sister Jenna, my BKs, as you like to call them, Brahma Kumaris, and wonderful people of goodwill all around the world. Feel into your next great becoming. Take this moment to say yes to it, and then watch as your life bears witness to the divine possibilities that are hidden within your sacred yes. And they will manifest with an ease, a grace, and a powerful dignity as exemplified by the Brahma Kumari. I love and appreciate you. Thank you for the good work you're doing. Your neighbors are going to love the fact that you are in the neighborhood and you have enhanced the vibrational property value exponentially by the great work that you do. Have a bright celebration. Peace and blessings.
Michael, you always know what to say. Thank you so much. The amazing Jean Houston, futurist, a woman of great travels, have seen things that you and I read about in history books and go, that's impossible to happen. How many books has Jean authored? She's got a new one coming out right now. If you don't know who Jean Houston is, you need to Google her and know her now. To get to know her, to be with her, to grow with her, is to be with one of the ancient wisdom keepers of all time. This is a woman who has been with seers and prophets and kings and queens and presidents, and she will sit and look into your soul and share with you truths that maybe you don't even know. Jean, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jean Houston, and I am thrilled. Just so delighted to be here with you on this extremely luminous and auspicious occasion of this time in which Om Shanti moves into its next place of unfolding and of bringing so much love and wisdom and possibility into this world and time. Many years ago, I was 14 years old. Yeah, 14. I was running down Park Avenue because filled with grief, I had just learned that my parents were getting divorced. And somebody told me, you want to get rid of grief? Go run. Well, that's what I was doing. And I ran into an old man and I knocked him down and I was so embarrassed and I picked him up and he was laughing and laughing. And he said to me in a French accent, are you planning to run like that for the rest of your life? I said, yes, sir, it looks that way. He said, well, bon voyage. I said, bon voyage. About a week later, I was walking with my fox terrier, Champ, and down about the same street, and there was the old gentleman. And he said to me, where are you going? I said, well, I'm going to Central Park to think about things. I will go with you sometime, okay? Okay. Well, that began a series of walks for over 3 years with the man that I called Mr. Taylor. And one day, Mr. Taylor suddenly fell to the ground in ecstasy, and he saw a caterpillar, Jean-Luc caterpillar, little green body, little tiny feet. Oh, it will soon become, it will metamorphose, a butterfly. Jean, what is your metamorphosis? What are you when you leave the caterpillar? You feel like a caterpillar? I do. 14-year-old girl, red dots on my face. I felt like a caterpillar. What are you when you finally become the butterfly of Jean. He said, well, I think when I become butterfly, I'll fly all over the earth and I'll help people. Boom, 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 good. Anyway, these marvelous conversations just continued, in which Mr. Teilhard, who it turns out was actually Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, who lived around the corner from me in New York City. And he helped me to really see how we were in a time of release and renewal. And that was so important to me and has governed my life ever since, release and renewal. That's where we are now. And we find that in times of, just before times of big renewal, renaissances, rinascita, they're generally preceded by times of which the world seems to be falling apart, as happens with the caterpillar. It gets to a certain place and it falls apart, and it releases this incredible serum that allows the butterfly to emerge. Well, we're in our pre-butterfly state right now, I do believe. We're in a state in which the old forms that no longer work are falling away with an enormous amount of publicity. But it's hard to imagine and enter into the consciousness of the butterfly state that is about to happen. Om Shanti is the emergence of the butterfly. Om Shanti is the gifting and the gifting of prayer, of wisdom, of deep compassion, of crossing the great divide of otherness, and above all, of love, and more love. Understanding in which the world is given the sustenance to come together into its butterfly stage. Om Shanti, Shanti Om, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.
Chance to just sit with Jean. It's like an encyclopedia. It's incredible. So we're coming to a close of our time together, and thanks to everyone out there that's taken the energy and the love to give us your blessings and your good wishes, your purity, your wisdom. All of it has been so transformative for me. I don't really have the words for it right now, but like Marianne had said, as the moment passes by, I'll ripple it through, it'll ripple through me, and it will become clearer to me and my family and everyone here at Om Shanti Village. Just a few more friends to just come on and say hello and blessings. Temple Hayes, who you know, Unity of St. Petersburg, Florida, wanting to make sure that she had her blessings in. And so I just have to share what she said with all of you, because I thought what Temple said in her blessing was so profound. And so I'd like to introduce you all to the incredible Temple Hayes.
I love the story about the woman that's in a hurry. She's very busy. Her level of importance is very powerful, and she's going down the road and she's rushing. And the car in front of her, she assumes, is going to keep going through the traffic light as it's turning yellow and then turning red, and the driver stops. And so the woman gets very upset, aggravated, and she lays on her horn, starts doing sign language out the window. And by this time, a police officer had kind of noticed what was going on. And so he comes around and follows her, pulls her over and says, "Ma'am, I need to see your identification and your registration, please." And in a few minutes, he comes back and he says, "Ma'am, you've got to go with me. You've got to go down to the station with me." And so she does. And so she's in there a couple of hours, and finally he comes to her and says, "Okay, ma'am, you're free to go now." And she said, "Well, I really appreciate that you're letting me go, but quite frankly, I've never understood why I'm here." He said, "Well, ma'am, here's what happened." He said, "I was watching what was going on with you and the car in front of you." And he said, "And I looked on the back of your car, and you had bumper stickers, global peace, love your neighbor, we are one." And he said, "Ma'am, I thought you were driving a stolen car." And so we look at our lives, and we look at moments and situations and circumstances that we allow to be stolen from us. More than ever before in our culture, we look at the necessity and the need to be grounded, to be rooted, to be good neighbors, to be people that connect with each other. We are way past the language of education. We are being called forth into the true living and setting examples by the way that we share each other, the way we share our space, the way we share our commitment to wanting to see the world a better place. That requires often our willingness to change. We've heard in many religions and in many faiths, love your neighbor. But one of the things that I feel that often we leave off is it truly says, love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. And so as you are embracing the energetic space of another human being, we are called forth to say, what am I modeling? How am I living? How am I sharing that true unconditional love? It's more than just talking about it. It's about being a model to the person next door, to the families next door, to the community. We must be more than calling ourselves spiritual or enlightened. We must learn to integrate the teachings by how we act. Love is a verb. I love the writings of Rupert Sheldrake, and one of the things he talked about is how years ago, when the first 2 automobiles were made, they were in Pennsylvania. One family owned a car on one side of town and one owned a car on the other side of town, and their morphogenetic field had not been established. So surprisingly, you may be shocked to hear that of all the space and of all the energy, those 2 vehicles ran into each other and had an accident because they had not established that morphogenetic field, that embrace. And that's always touched my soul, to be aware of my neighbor, to be aware of the person at the grocery store, to be aware that I am coming from an acceptance field of understanding and compassion and empathy. You know, often in my life, I have found that what I resist initially winds up to be something that I love dearly. And I'm here today to celebrate the amazing, amazing work of Sister Jenna, and just to bless her new sacred home and all the people that will have the pleasure and privilege to visit there as a guest. Let's hold that consciousness of what it is like to be a guest. We are all a guest in this life right now. We are all here for a window of time. We're all here for a space of time. And the greatest thing that we are called forth to do right now is to know that we belong. It's fundamental to our being to know that we belong. Say that with me. I belong here. That level of consciousness and in prayer is what will transcend our world to the understanding within its own beauty. Bless you on this amazing journey we call life. Namaste.
You're beautiful. Thank you, Temple. Thanks. It's such a beautiful story by Temple. No, I just had to just share that. I just loved it. And she spoke very, very clearly. Can you imagine that woman with that car? Kind of is like me because I love racing. Dr. Fujan Zain, psychotherapist, survivor of the coup and the revolution in Tehran, comes over at the age of 16, finds her way through on her own, educates herself, becomes someone of great significance. Her mother was the Oprah of Tehran before the revolution. And for the whole family to just be so usurped and lose everything, it was traumatic what she was going through the last 4 years in the United States. She says, I feel like I was going through what happened in Tehran with me. And she was like, what to do? Anyway, she's become a very, very close friend, and she sent in a blessing and a video. And I would like to introduce you to Dr. Fujan Zain, who also has a new book out, so look out for it.
Hello, Sister Jenna. This is Fujan, and I just want to tell you congratulations. I miss you a lot. I know that we're all coming out of the COVID and kind of life trying to get back to what it used to be, but I don't think that it will ever be the way it used to be. It was going to be something else. And I'm excited to see what it's going to be. As you know, the mental health has been one of the biggest issues around the world because of COVID. So the concept of coming back to the self, healing the self, meditating, being at peace, and being at peace with all that's out there that is still unknown, and the vision that we could create to create the life that we want, I think is the most important thing. I remember when I came to your home a couple of years ago, and I went to your meditation room, and it was the first time as I walked in somewhere, and the space of peace took me in immediately, and it took me in very deeply, which is not usually what happens in such a short time. So I know that the space of peace is something that you consistently create, and it's something that we really need for the world. Not only peace, but also peace of mind, peace of heart, and creating the love. This is something we talked about a lot, is creation of a higher level of vibration of love, which has peace and acceptance in it. And to create that vision and to create that space is definitely what you do best. And I know that whomever joins you, that's what they're going to experience. So I hope, congratulations to your new home. I know that it's going to create the best vibration for peace of mind and love. And I can't wait to be there. And I'm sorry that I can't be there right now. And to experience that with you and everyone who's around you. And congratulations to the Brahma Kumaris group. And I remember going to India, and it was the most amazing experience that I ever had, as if it's humanity at its best. And I know every time I'm around you, Sister Jenna, I become the best that I can be. So Om Shanti. Oh, Om Shanti Village. What an amazing name. So Om Shanti, peace and love to you. And thank you for creating peace and love for everyone.
So much, Pujan. Thanks for being such a strong force, such a strong, stable force in our world today. And the work that you're doing to raise vibrations is no less. So Kristen Hoffman, I call her my little sister, my little protege. She just did a wonderful performance at the Evolutionary Leaders, and she's hopping over to give me her blessings and the Brahma Kumaris and all of us here. Kristen is a Juilliard-trained musician, and where Kristen could be one of those big Beyoncés, she decided to be God's Beyonce, Baba's Beyonce. And when Kristen sings, your soul opens. You don't have a choice but to open up your spirit. So Kristen Hoffman, thank you for joining me, my sweet little sister. Om Shanti.
Shanti, Sister Jenna. So
Hey.
beautiful to be here celebrating the birth and the new beginnings of Om Shanti Village. Such an honor. And what a manifestation. What a manifestation. And yet with you, I am not surprised. You always invite in the highest form of light and love and peace and beauty, as do all of the Brahma Kumaris. I have always been in awe every time I am at a center or in your presence. So usually, my favorite thing to do is to bring through music live. However, today, we decided that it would be the most beautiful blessing to actually share a soul-om, live improvisational soul song that actually came through in this past year during the Brahma Kumari America Meditating Retreat. And there are these moments in life where you just tune to a deeper level and you listen. And we were in this incredible collective field of love. And I really felt I was able to be the vehicle for God's song to come through. And not even knowing that Om Shanti Village would come into existence at that time, now this song feels like the perfect blessing for this day. And before we listen, I just wanted to share, this came through after my meditation. And I just want to share this little poem that can prepare us to listen. How do we learn to listen deeply and hear the song of who we are? The key, the tone, melody, the theme. After all, we were born with a song in our heart, an umbilical cord to spirit, and it is here to nurture us and our highest way of being. God is singing through all our individual songs, feeding the collective growth. And when we sing our creation song with God, in alignment with Source, we serve the highest form of harmony. So as you listen to this piece called Om Shanti, I want you to just listen and maybe remember your song, the song that you sing with God in your heart. Thank you. Blessings.
Thanks, Kristen. Thanks.
Oh
Together we make this choice. Together we make this choice. Together, Om Shanti. We're singing Om Shanti.
It's official. We're home. Thank you all. I wanted my dear friends, Dr. Kanu Kogod, to come up and say hello. We have Beverly East, author, Cordelia Ophelia here, Parvene, Jerry Eitner. Oh, Nicolette. Okay, Nicolette, stand up, please. So Nicolette was the realtor who basically came to our rescue. Give her a big hand. If you really want a realtor with heart and tenacity and looks out for your best ability, call her Nicolette Lee, right? Let me tell you, we met when we were going through a little flux of whatever, and you know, Wayne Wen's proposal was tough, and then Nicolette was like, I don't think this is good for you. And then they kept going back and forth. And every time Way, myself, and Wen would talk, we're like, but we understand our deal. They don't. But on that day, when I called you that morning and I says, Nicolette, could you sign up that thing and see if it'll be okay? And she came to my rescue and everything worked out beautifully. So many beautiful souls. Marianne, you might need Nicolette. She is so good. I'm endorsing her. She is so good. When first we were like not sure if this is the space. Oh my gosh, even though I had deja vu and I knew this was it, you're still looking, found Nicolette within 5-10 minutes. She had 10-15 properties. That's why I told you, you need to find Nicolette. And I want to tell you, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for showing up the way you did. And she says, I'm doing this as a gift. You don't have to pay me. I really want to do this for you. I know what your sisters must be going through. And it's been a wonderful journey. And I want to thank everyone. And I want to send vibrations to our neighbors that they like us and they love us. I don't know how to explain to them that we just attract a lot of people because we know a lot of friends. And they have the biggest issue. I don't want too many cars in our neighborhood. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, but I just love people and people love me. And I don't know how to deal with this, you know, like I don't know what to say to you, but I just love them. And I want us to love them and love them and just love them, Wayne. When you have to love them and you have to look out for us here. And so we just want to be happy and keep spreading light. So thanks to everyone that showed up, to all the angels, Brother Santosh, who stays with me, Navata, Sister Aditi, Sister Gita. We've tucked her away for safekeeping. And I know we've gone over our time, but every one of you got 7 billion acts of goodness, which Brother Ram Prakash, who was a survivor from 9/11, he was on the 65th floor. And when the first building went down, then he was realizing that this was it. And what was interesting about his story was that he kept going into the office to tell his coworkers, you have to come out. I think it's an alarm. And everyone in the office kept saying, Ram, let me just finish this. And within 5 minutes, the building collapsed that he was in. And as a result of surviving 9/11, he came up with 7 billion acts of goodness. And in one of the interviews he did for ABC News, he was asked, well, don't you want to seek revenge on these people who took the lives of so many? And he says, you know what? Before I can seek revenge, I have to learn to forgive myself for anything that I've done to anyone. And we have to learn to forgive each other. And then he came up with 7 billion acts of good. So if you're interested to find out more about, he's already gone through 40 countries. So if there's anything that you'd like to know more about the 7 billion acts of goodness, please see him afterwards and he'll be able to definitely tell you a lot. Dr. Kanu Kogod, I know I had you on the program, it's only because of time, but please come here. Kanu and I have been way back. I had a very severe or serious health opportunity last year, and Kanu got the group together to finance my health opportunity and take care of me and look out for me. And I just say, thank you.
You're welcome.
And when I brought them here to Om Shanti Village, no, I said, what do you guys think? You think this is Baba's house? You think this is Baba's house? The both of them are so quiet. I was like, oh my God, they don't think this is it. And that's when I found Nicolette. If it wasn't for them being quiet after they left us that day, they were like, I go, don't you love it? Don't you think this is Baba's home? Don't you feel the potential? That's all I got. Oh, it has potential. And I was like, wait, oh no, don't tell me, because they should feel that we've been here before. And that's when I went searching on Zillow and found Nicolette. And you know how I found her? I just went, okay, Baba, send me the right person. Oh, okay, call this realtor. And that's how I got her. And that was how I got her. So thank you. Kanu, do you have anything you'd like to share? Just a little bit about this, and then we have a wonderful, amazing Indian meal. $1 million per dish. And I mean it.
I have something I want to share, and it's going to be very brief. Please just take a moment right now to assimilate and integrate all the gifts that we've been given today with gratitude, the wisdom that has come through everybody who's been here. Just take a moment now, and in your heart, like as if there's a beam of ray of light coming out of your own heart, send it to everyone here, to this property, to Sister Jenna, to all the speakers. Just let that ray of your heart's love expand like a huge bubble, because we're in such good company, and everything we think right now together is amplified. So send this blessing right now as we close. Send this powerful, powerful blessing to all of us, everyone here. We're all in God's love. We're all in Baba's love. We're all in consciousness in the universe. Blessings, blessings, blessings.
Yay. So to all of you online, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. We're going to sign off now. Hemat Bhai, Naina Ben, I'm so glad you made it all the way from New Jersey. Thank you. And beautiful, beautiful. Did you bring the Ferrari?
No.
What? Head back, head back. That's okay. But thank you all for joining us who joined us virtually online. I hope the program satisfied your soul and your heart. And please stay tuned for our online programs and keep in touch with everyone that's been here with us today. Marianne has a beautiful podcast that she covers incredible stories on. So just go to her website. And I've been listening to some of her interviews, and she's been selecting a lot of incredible people, especially with this upcoming election of locals. We need to be aware of who's coming on up and coming. Nicolette Lee, realtor, please, if you're local, she's the one. She's the one. She really is the one. Cordelia, Beverly, all of you who are doing incredible work in the local area. The Aspen Institute is doing incredible work in the area. Portia Davidson came by here a few times a week. She looked at the place. I got to paint this. I got to do that. What can I do? And before we knew it, as beautiful as that porch and deck and bathrooms look, it's all because of Portia Davidson. Give her a big hand. So it's just her love, friendship, family. That's what we're about. Please love your neighbor and love the people close to you, especially love the ones that have been disconnected from truth and divinity. Thanks for joining us online today. Have a wonderful afternoon. Om Shanti.